People don't realize, but the franchise agreement usually about 10 years, which is, 5 times longer than the average marriage in the United States. If you're marrying the business, you really want to make sure that you like what you get.
Welcome to another episode of From Startup to Wunderbrand with Nicholas Kuhner. Hello everyone and welcome back. Tonight I'm very excited to have Max Emmer with us. Now, I've worked in the franchising game for many years through restaurants mainly. But Max is coming from a slightly different angle, which is more on the bookkeeping side. And we're going to touch on that a little bit. But Max, 22 years ago, left the corporate world, became an entrepreneur and has never looked back, with ups and downs, including bankruptcy. But now Max is the CEO of 3 companies built all about franchising and entrepreneurship. And he's built his own bookkeeping franchise called Bookskeeping to provide franchise consulting to individuals who either want to franchise their business or buy an existing franchise. But we're also going to talk a bit about his own franchise brokering business, where he helps individuals pursue the American dream by owning a franchise with the choice of over 600 franchises. So Max, welcome.
Thank you, Nicholas. Great to be here. Thank you for the opportunity.
Good. Well, you know, we've chatted before about franchising and a little bit about your business, but maybe for those who haven't listened to that episode, perhaps we can talk a little bit about your journey to start Bookskeeping.
So the journey actually began 32 years ago when I came from the former Soviet Union. And, that was a huge change in my life from, country that was about to be ceased to exist to lovely and sunny San Diego, California. So it was a huge change, and degree in finance, got my corporate job, and about 4 years after that, I just realized that the corporate world is not for me. My joke was always that I was kissing the wrong butt, so I guess I never got good with that. So I decided to leave corporate world and join a small family business with 3 employees and eventually grew into 96 employees. And as you mentioned in the introduction, we were growing great until we weren't. And it was a construction company that stopped building during the recession of 08 or 09. However, we had a lot of equipment, a lot of loans that had to be paid, and pretty much zero money because revenue went to zero overnight. And so I went to personal bankruptcy with 1 baby and 1 baby on the way. So it wasn't the most pleasant experience at the time, but now looking back, it's probably one of the best things that happened to me because I learned a lot. And this first time I realized that things are not happening to me, but happening for me. So that's huge. It was a huge realization which helped me later to succeed in life. And then while me and my wife really opened the landscape business, mostly concentrating on maintenance piece, and at the same time we were looking for an accounting firm for our business, and we found 20 quotes that range from $200 to $2,000, and we're like, no, that's not gonna work. This is too much of a gap. And that's when we actually opened Bookskeeping. And at the time we were running 2 businesses, and then later sold the landscaping maintenance and concentrated on bookkeeping piece, which later by accident drove us into bookkeeping for franchises. We started doing 1 slowly, and now we are preferred bookkeeping provider for about 98 franchise brands in the United States. And some of them are like huge, like Sport Clips and Fast Signs and, that type of companies, Signoramas. Some emerging, but they grow 100 locations in the first 3 months. And then we're doing about over 100 of them, bookkeeping. And then a few years into that, we decided to franchise our own brand. And that's how Bookskeeping franchise started. So literally last night, we signed franchise number 12 in Nashville, Tennessee. And I'm super excited.
Let's talk a little bit about the importance of bookkeeping. Now, you spoke about bankruptcy and you spoke about having loans and all of this equipment. You're not the only one in the world who's gone through this process. And I think a lot of listeners, or hopefully not too many listeners, have gone through a similar process where I didn't really understand my books well enough, and the finance people I had with me weren't in control or weren't communicating to me correctly in terms of the actual state of the business. And not just that, not giving good advice on cash management and getting into specific contracts and loans and things like this. So maybe talk to me a little bit about being an entrepreneur and some of those lessons that you learned from the bankruptcy. I know it was a painful period, but what are the biggest learnings that you took out of that experience and brought into Bookskeeping?
The biggest one was that this is not the end of the world. The biggest one, as I mentioned, was that it's not happening to me, it's happening for me. What can I learn? How I can move forward? But one of the biggest realization, hey, that's not the end of the world. You can always get out of pretty much any situation. And what seems scary at the time turned out to be not that scary or dangerous, looking back. You can only things looking backwards. Looking forward, you don't know. At least I didn't at the time, and that was many years ago. I was way younger and less experienced. So I'm like, I understand where I made the mistakes, and one of the mistakes was not knowing my financials. My wife, who was a co-founder of Bookskeeping, now my ex-wife, but we still work together. We're still business partners and co-founders of the business. But I have accounting and finance background, but we're so busy growing, and we were growing like crazy, so we did not pay attention to the financials. If we did, we would have known that, hey, it's slowing down. And there were signs, but it wasn't like, it did not happen overnight for us. But actually, there were signs that it's not happening, okay? They were happening, so that's why financials are very important. And now being on different side and offering bookkeeping services to clients, they're like, well, are you guys going to be ready with my financials for my tax season? I'm like, yes, but it's a wrong question. Yes, we'll be ready for a tax season, but you want to know what's going on actually on a monthly basis, and in some cases on a weekly basis. Because if you're waiting for a year to look at your financials, that's too late. There is nothing you can do, March of next year, because 2024 will be gone. Now it's still the time for you to make business decisions.
In your experience, how many businesses are waiting 6 months or a year to get their financials in terms of the what you've seen?
A lot of them, I would say, even the ones that getting their financials done on a monthly basis, they just don't look at them. Okay, so we're still doing the work, we're still providing them the financials, but when we don't get any feedback, we're like, hey, here's the calendar, schedule a meeting with us to discuss. But people don't discuss it and don't reach out. I'm not complaining, less work for my staff, but if it was my business, I would be all over it. And if somebody offered me a free meeting to discuss my financials, I would definitely take it.
Yeah. So you do offer that guidance. Now that you have started your own franchise business as well, so you're doing the bookkeeping for franchises, but now offering your own franchise. What new learning curve are you having with starting a franchise?
Franchising is a completely different business, and I know that in the United States, I'm not sure about Europe, but in the United States, it's a very regulated industry. What you can say, what you cannot say. Like, for example, we cannot tell a potential franchisee, hey, you're going to break even in X months. We're not allowed to say that unless we publish this and then this information is readily available. And obviously, we can guarantee that you're going to break even in 3 months, 6 months, or 12 months. In case of Bookskeeping, the advantage is that we provide clients. And that's really cool, because being a bookkeeping provider for that many franchise brands, that's a source of clients for our franchisees. We also provide staff, which really makes it easier. So it's like a turnkey business almost. But even in this case, I can guarantee that we're going to give you, 100 clients or 23 clients or 78 clients. It really depends on the situation, depends on, where you're located, what's your expertise. Like, we're not going to give big clients to somebody who literally just learned how to do accounting and bookkeeping. We want to test them first, because our name is behind it. We can't just, risk it. So we will give them some clients, but we have to make sure they know what they're doing. It takes time.
That's quite a unique business proposition. I haven't come across many franchise opportunities where the owner of the franchise gives franchisees clients. This is unheard of. Is this something that you, I mean, obviously you don't want to make that the only reason people come to you, but that's quite unique in your industry, right?
Well, it is unique. I mean, we're not the first one doing it, and I learned it from, some people in the franchise industry, but it's very, very unusual. But at the same time, Nicholas, I'm not looking to be like everybody else. If I can't, logo is bookkeeping redefined. That goes for all of our businesses. If I cannot redefine a certain industry, I'm not interested to go in it. I don't want to be like everybody else to do exactly what the market is doing. I mean, I love to be, one-off, somebody that is just not too many people are doing it. There is risk into that because you don't know if it's going to work or not. I mean, I can tell you right now, we are the only bookkeeping franchise in the United States. There is nobody else. Like, not a pizza restaurant cannot tell you that we are the only pizza restaurant, in the United States. There are brands that offering tax services and bookkeeping services, but that's not our model. True bookkeeping, where the one doesn't do taxes, the one that gets referrals from CPAs, the ones the CPAs love, and some of them even buy our franchise, become franchisees of Bookskeeping, like our partners in Las Vegas just did that. They're a CPA firm, a prominent one. It is a little bit scary because you go to like a franchise show, franchise expo, and people walk by and like, bookkeeping, oh, I didn't even know it exists. Interesting. No, I'm gonna go check out this burger stand right next to it. Because people just don't understand, and nothing wrong with that. We're not for everybody, okay? Even though you have to be an accountant to buy a bookkeeping franchise, but you kind of have to like the numbers and understand the numbers. Like, I'm a finance guy. The last thing you want to do, unless you want to embarrass me, is to ask me accounting questions, because I'm going to suck at it, okay? But I know enough to be able to sell the product and talk intelligently with clients. But I'm on the finance side. And I'm proud of it because I have a wonderful team and they know what they're doing. I have no idea how to turn on QuickBooks Online, okay, or any accounting software. And that's fine. You don't have to. This is a big myth that you have to know everything yourself. I don't believe that. You have to know what your strong suit is and do that. I mean, people skills, I hope my strong suit. I like being around people. I get energy from them. Hopefully I give them some energy. I teach them, I learn from them. So it's a two-way street. But, I'm definitely not a true accounting, person. But I have a team of people who are wonderful in what they're doing.
Now, it's interesting because you have a couple of different aspects to your business here. There is the bookkeeping, there's franchising, but there is the resourcing side, which is hiring accountants or bookkeepers, as you mentioned. You're also finding and vetting staff. Am I right?
That's correct, but we are not like lending this to other companies. So we either use this ourselves or we let our franchisees pick somebody and make this person their de facto employees, where they work for this particular franchisee, but bookkeeping corporate is paying all the benefits and providing office and doing all of the stuff and doing the management. So we are not agency by any means. Never say never, but as of today, we are not an agency. 3 businesses is more than enough, but in 2 months I might change my mind.
Now, you mentioned 3 businesses. Running one business is tough enough. Mm-hmm. Running 3 businesses, do you have 3 different hats? How do you split your time between these businesses, or have you managed to automate it in a way that works for you, or do you just have great staff? Or do you have 24 hours in a day that you work?
I always believe in giving credit when it's due. So about 3 years ago, I joined an organization called Strategic Coach, and it changed my whole life and perspective of how to run the business, if not how to live my life. So if I can plug in one book, it's called 10X is Easier Than 2X by Dan Sullivan and Ben Hardy. I've read it probably 5 or 6 times. And there are a lot of great ideas, and I mean, I learn every time I'm reading it, I learn new things. I mean, that's what strategic coach is about. But what I learned is to delegate. It's who, not how. And for years, I was doing a lot of stuff myself because I'm like, well, I can do better than that. And, that slowed me down. I was the bottleneck of my own business because I was trying to do a lot of things. So, yes, it's 3 businesses, but I have teams of people in all 3 of them. So I'm not trying to do everything myself. I'm not the one doing bookkeeping, doing, this, doing that. Yes, ultimately, I oversee everything, and then clients do have access to me, and then franchisees have access to me. But I have ops people in all of my businesses, and that's the only way, in my opinion, to be successful. Like, I just know what I'm good at and what I'm not good at, and just hiring the executive assistant was probably the first decision that I made that changed the whole concept. That I was doing so much admin stuff. And I'm like, well, but it's easy. I can do it. Come on, why do I need anybody? I can do proposals while I'm watching, TV at night. That's what I was doing for years. But then it would take me longer because that would be after like 12-hour day. I was just sitting, I was enjoying, Netflix when I was doing it, but instead of getting some rest, I was doing this stuff. Now clients get proposals within 5 after the meeting because I have admin stuff behind the scenes to do that, and they do all the follow-ups and they do all the scheduling. So I just need to show up and talk to the clients. It's awesome, which means I can talk to more people. So really, for me, it's delegating. And second one, if you ask, it's not micromanaging. This is the hard one. I'm still working on that, but I'm getting better for sure.
Now, I want to ask you a question. This goes back, and I'm sorry to bring up bankruptcy again, because it's something that's really, impacted my life as well. What are you doing differently this time in this business?
Looking at the numbers would be one thing, and being in a different business as well. I mean, the reason I like accounting business more than I like construction business. Even though a lot of my family is in construction business and they're very, very successful. So I don't want to say that construction business is bad by any means, but we don't have any inventory. We don't have any capital loans because we had to buy. I mean, when I went into bankruptcy, probably we had, it's been a while, but I want to say at least 20 trucks, at least 10 or 15 pieces of equipment, from cranes to other stuff. So it was like a whole yard full of this stuff. And so of course we didn't buy it in cash. We had loans for all of them. Okay. So with accounting business, B2B business, there is not much equipment you need to buy other than computers. But now the prices for computers are, went down a lot, and the phone. That's really it. You can even work from home. We tell our franchisees, don't rush into getting an office. You can do work from home.
I think the big learning for me was it's much easier to get into contracts than to get out of them.
Yes, that's true.
Now let's have a look at growth plans for Bookskeeping, because for me, growing at the correct pace is important. And it sounds like you've got the right structures behind you now to start taking off. What are your growth plans over the next year or so for your 3 businesses? How are you structuring this? And are you using your own genius to do this? Or are you networking? Are you speaking to coaches and mentors to help you along this process? Yeah, I'd just like to understand a little bit about your thinking about the growth of your business.
For Bookskeeping franchise, the goal is to have 50 franchises sold and operational, after which we're planning to take a break in selling new franchises. I don't know for how long. Depends how fast we can make sure that the support system can support our franchisees successfully. I know up to 50 we can do it organically, but after that it will require a lot of mind change. So we've decided that we are going to take a break, and we'll decide at that time for how long. Again, we're not taking break, we're not closing the business, we're just taking break selling new franchises. So we have that plan, and I see the momentum now, so I think we are gonna get to 50 by the end of 2025. Then for Bookskeeping business, we see more and more franchisors coming in who want to work with us, because people get to know us from the trade shows. We've been around franchising for a while, so people know who we are. A lot of CEOs of big franchise brands know us, know me, which is awesome. And I'm very happy to be in these positions. But now new franchisors come in, and some of them like, hey, we want to make you mandatory. We want to bring 50 or 60 of our franchisees, and you guys will do everything. We're like, wow, that's awesome. So the idea is to grow that and give it to our existing franchisees or new franchisees, to give them clients, because we are business partners with them. They're successful, we're successful. That's the way we're doing it. Investing a lot in training and changing all the time. So right now, when a new franchisee comes in, we are providing them with 3 months of accounting school, 6 months of sales training with live sales coach, and 1 year of executive coaching. With my co-founder Elena, she's a PhD. She is teaching in several universities, both accounting and psychology. She's a professor in Barcelona. And she's working with every franchisee who comes in, doing the executive coaching one-on-one. I mean, our internal joke is, if you've seen Billions on Showtime, we have our own Wendy. And, that's her job, to get them to the top of the preferred. The funny part, Elena haven't seen Billions, so I'm always making, she's like, what are you talking about? Right? Because trust me, people don't know. Seriously, I mean, the value of these 3 trainings, if you add it up, it's more than the franchise fee people pay us, okay? I haven't seen any franchises that offer executive coaching, but for us, and I don't know why other franchises are not doing it, but hey, it's not my business. So we are definitely investing in that. And now, again, after we sell 50, we're gonna work on operations, and then the Bookskeeping corporate will be just sourcing these clients to our franchisees. So it's like its own ecosystem. And then the third business, which we haven't talked about, but I opened the franchise brokerage because I really felt that I'm leaving people hanging. Like, well, it's not a good match. I mean, they're not buying Bookskeeping franchise for whatever reason. There are 600 plus franchises to choose from, and there is always a match. And some people don't realize that all the services that franchise brokers offer are free. We're getting paid in full by franchisor only if somebody ends up buying a franchise, okay? And look, if you want to buy a McDonald's franchise, you don't go to a broker. You just call McDonald's, and if it's available, they'll sell it to you. But a lot of people like, hey, I want to leave corporate America and I don't know what I want to do. So this is all conversation. I'm asking questions. I'm like, well, let's talk, let's imagine. So just trying to get inside people's head. I know it's impossible, but it's very important, because you're going to be in this business for a while. I mean, people don't realize, but the franchise agreement usually about 10 years, which is, 5 times longer than the average marriage in the United States. You're marrying the business. You really want to make sure that you like what you're getting. It's not about, oh, I have money, I'm going to try. No, because most likely you're not going to, become a millionaire in the first day, months, or even a year. It requires hard work. And if you do it and you do it right, yes, you can be very, very successful in any business. But finding this right business, seeing if it's a good match, talking to people, and even if you talk to franchisees of existing franchise, what questions to ask? Okay, if you've never been around franchising, like I got my certified franchise executive, I went to University of Louisville for that. It's not like it sounds so good, I'm a CFE, whatever, but I just learned so much taking those classes that I can now pass this knowledge to the candidates.
Can I ask, and this is an entrepreneurial question, your Bookskeeping business is doing well and is growing. Why are you adding additional complexity to your life in terms of the franchising business? Is this something that you're passionate about in terms of helping people find the right franchise, or what are your sort of motive? I'm just asking because a lot of entrepreneurs get to the stage as well where their business is running well and they're looking for something new and exciting to do. What made you decide to now open this new business and divide your attention onto this?
I guess I'm still trying to develop my why, and I'm working really hard on that, so finding my unique ability and finding out why I'm doing what I'm doing. I kind of have it in my head, but it's still being far formulated. I know I'm very close, and I'm gonna be there soon. But I want to help people, whether they're clients of Bookskeeping, who, by doing their bookkeeping, we give them an opportunity to do something better for them. Whether that's spending time with their family or growing their business. Same with Bookskeeping franchisees or franchisee of any other brand. We give them freedom, potential to actually be free and work for themselves and, grow and be in charge of their own destiny. And I know it sounds like really charge of your own destiny, but that's really what entrepreneurship is about. Last time I got a paycheck from somebody was 22 years ago. And Nicholas, sometimes, not sometimes, always, entrepreneur is the last person to get paid. And there were a lot of cases when, we were just paid everybody and every vendor, and then boom, no money. So, I guess we have to wait till, next time, we're going to get some money from clients. And that's fine. That's the risk you take. But as everyone knows, the more the risk, the more the return. The less the risk, the less the return. You can always invest and buy CDs from the bank. You're going to get guaranteed 4% or 3%, whatever the rate is right now, but it's barely going to beat the inflation. So yes, you are guaranteed not to lose money, but you're not going to make much. So if you want to risk it, I'm not saying to go and buy, Bitcoins with every penny that you have. I mean, obviously everybody has its own, risk tolerance, but the more risk you take, the bigger the potential return is. So exactly the same thing. I want to give people this opportunity, and by buying a franchise, I really believe people can do it. But again, I understand that Bookskeeping franchise is not for everybody, and that's the reason I'm not pushing it to everybody. Like, I talk to people, some of them I don't even mention that, hey, I'm a franchisor, I do bookkeeping, because I'm like, this is not for you. I can see that they're not going to be successful doing it because I've done it long enough to make this decision. And lastly, what I wanted to say, I love being around other franchisors. It's a great crowd of people. Everybody's helping everybody. Like, I go to a lot of franchise conferences and franchise expos. You see two CEOs of two largest competitive franchises sitting next to each other, having a drink and discussing day-to-day stuff. And they're like main competitors, but yet they're talking and they're like really enjoying and they know about their personal life. I love it because they look at it from the simple end of abundance. It's enough for everybody. They're not competing for each client. They're actually helping each other. So I absolutely love it, and I want to be part of this industry.
Well, it's great to see somebody so passionate about their business, and I'm super excited that you're growing as well. I can't remember in our last call, I think you'd just gotten your first or second franchise client. So I'm very excited that you've grown so much in the past year, and I'm sure that 50 is hopefully a low number in the long term. So Max, pleasure speaking to you. And just before we go, what is the best place I can send people to find out more about Bookskeeping and if they're interested in getting their own franchise?
So, funny story, I couldn't figure it out, and before I was giving like all the 3 websites, and I'm like, you know what, people are like getting hard time, especially with my Russian accent, how to spell Bookskeeping and the other ones. So I've decided to make it easier on everybody. There is one website, it's called Franchise with Max, franchisewithmax.com, and once you go in, you'll be able to choose if you want to talk about bookkeeping, you want to talk about bookkeeping franchise, or if you want to talk about possibility of buying any other franchises. So franchisewithmax.com, just go there. It's still me, but you'll be able to choose which direction to go.
So I'm going to stick that link in the bio just in case other people are struggling with Russian accents. So that's, but Max, I think next time we're going to have to talk about personal brand Max, because it looks like, you're already branding yourself nicely with your t-shirt and in the background there. So I think we're going to see a lot more of you. So Max, thanks so much for your time and your insights.
Nicholas, thank you so much. It's been a pleasure. Looking forward to the next one.
I really do appreciate your comments. So why not go and watch this live on YouTube?
or go to my website, kuhne.no. That's kuhne.no for more information.